aggressively casual.
Wait.
Oh.
Hey, I'm here.
Oh, we did it! Somehow they decided to behave. It's a miracle.
14.
Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to Aggressively Casual, episode 14, and boy, do I...
You're so excited about this.
Ooh, man, I've got some thoughts about, the industry.
I do too. And I don't think they're going to match up exactly.
I got some thoughts about the industry. I got some thoughts about Nintendo. I got some thoughts about tariffs.
Well, yeah.
I got some thoughts about thoughts.
So as a way of preface before we get into this, because I think, now don't misunderstand me, we're not on complete opposite sides of this argument.
Right.
But I think we're on slightly different sides. So I want to preface this by saying we do not plan this. In other words, we do not think about a subject and go, okay, you're going to be on side A, you're going to be on side B. That's not how this works.
Nope.
This is pure, this is off the cuff. This is, how do you feel about this? And if it's different, it's different. If it's the same, it's the same.
Yep.
That's, like on some of the things we line up pretty fucking solid, right?
Yep. That's how, and that's how we've always operated. I mean, I've known you for 11 years. That's how we've always operated. We've never been in 100% agreement on everything.
No.
But that's how good friendships and good relationships are, right? That's life. If we agreed on everything, it'd be fucking boring.
I mean, like, listen, neither one of us is a Nazi, so there's no deal breaker here, right?
But exactly. Exactly. Fine.
Yeah.
Fine. I don't own a Tesla, so it's good.
Right. God, side note, Tesla was built on the conservationist crowd.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, good luck.
Right? Good fucking luck. So, okay, so let's back up a little bit. For those of you who for some reason don't know, if you've lived under a rock, last week Nintendo held their Switch 2 Direct, in which they announced the pricing for the console and a bunch of details about the console.
We're gonna skip the whole "what are you playing" this week.
Yeah.
Huh?
Oh yeah. No. We're going, man. We're fucking going. I've been waiting for this all day. We're going. So for those of you who don't know, Nintendo held their Direct last week, and they held a hands-on with some press and things like that afterwards. Did a bunch of Treehouse stuff like they always do, showing off the new games they announced, specifically Mario Kart World and the new Donkey Kong Bonanza. That's it. And now I'll be the first to say, both of those games look really fun. The Switch 2 as a console looks really nice. I want one. I do want one. That being said, before...
I mean, I don't have a Switch. The last one that we had, what was before the Switch?
Wii U.
Yeah, we didn't have that. I had the last Nintendo console I had was a Wii.
Fair.
Not because I don't like the games, but because, well, frankly, I'm tired of buying new consoles to play the same fucking games.
Right, and that's the reason why I've always had a Nintendo console, is because of the first party titles. I don't give a fuck about Cyberpunk or Elden Ring on the Switch 2. A lot of people do, and good for you, right? If that's what you're excited for, and you really want to experience those games, because they're great games, great. Good for you. I'm happy for you.
The more people that can experience Cyberpunk, the better it is for all of us.
Right? I'm in it for Mario, Zelda, Donkey Kong, Kirby, Metroid. Like, that's what I'm in Nintendo for, right?
Yeah, I understand that, but like I said, I get tired of buying a new console just to play the same damn game.
Right.
If I want to play Mario, I can play Mario. And it's the same problem I have with Madden, with Call of Duty.
Well,
it's the same game.
To be fair to Nintendo, they have and do a pretty good job of differentiating their titles from one another. For example, the last Mario games, the last mainline Mario game, Super Mario Odyssey, is probably one of my favorite games, Mario games ever, because it does both the 3D run around, do the world
Right.
stuff, but it also has 2D levels as well. It
Right.
incorporates two, and it's really neat how they've done that. Plus, they always find a gimmick, right? And Nintendo's big on gimmicks,
Sure.
has been for 100 years, right? Like they're big on gimmicks. They're big on little things in a game that change the way the game functions. So it's
Right.
slightly, it's a lot familiar, but they slightly twist some things around. Like with Mario
Sure.
Kart, right? They're upping the racers to 24, which is huge
Ooh.
for them. But the other
It
thing is
really
they're
is.
making it more like a Forza, like Horizon like thing where you can drive
See,
around the world.
Okay, driving around the world is cool, but
Yeah.
don't change the heart of what Mario Kart is.
Well, so they haven't, but it still has the Grand Prix and it still has all the but the courses.
Listen, if I can't throw a turtle at somebody, it's not Mario Kart. That's all I'm saying.
You can still do that. It's fine. But like they've added like a thing where you can drive around the world with your friends and take pictures in the locations, and like when you're doing like a Grand Prix or the new like knockout race, you drive from course to course.
Dirty.
It doesn't just load you into the next course. That's really that's cool stuff. That's cool.
True.
Like that is really that is, dare I say, for Nintendo, innovative stuff. They could have given us Mario Kart 9 and everyone would have creamed their fucking pants and everyone would have gone, oh my god, it's in Mario Kart, it's amazing, and it looks, oh my god, it looks so good, blah 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 blah, right?
Sure. Believe me, my brother used to run, well, still runs one of the biggest Nintendo sites in his part of the country. So he's always been my wife's like, you're gonna have your brother on the show tonight? You're talking about Nintendo. I was like, I'm tempted.
We should have. Damn.
I didn't think about it in time, or I probably would have.
Fair.
Although he shows up on the chat occasionally. But so Nintendo has always been in the house. And don't get me wrong.
So
it's just, but for me, I'm almost always been PC.
Yeah, I'm the same. I've almost always been PC, but I've always had a Nintendo console around just to be able to experience those titles. Now, before the Direct, right? I did a pre-show, hey, this is what I think, final predictions, etc., right?
Mm-hmm.
And I said the following. I said I think it's going to cap out at about $400. And if they priced it any more than that, it was going to be a hard sell for a lot of people because Nintendo had a job to do, right? You already sold millions upon millions of people on the Switch. And like Irv Kirshner said about The Empire Strikes Back in Star Wars, right? A second one can only be a second one.
Yes, but you also have to remember that Nintendo is the only company that sells their consoles for profit.
True.
Sony, Microsoft, etc. take a loss on the consoles.
True. I'll give you that. But the point that I was making, right, is that if you've already sold people, and some people in the past year, on a $250 to $350 console in the Switch, their job now was to get people to buy into the Switch too.
Right.
And I think they almost got there.
I keep looking at I want a Switch Lite because I don't do a lot of like TV stuff. I don't care.
Yeah.
But if I had a Switch Lite, I just lay there in my bed at night.
Yeah. Right.
Play some Super Mario World.
Well, and the nice thing is with the Lite, like you can do a mod on them to like do all like the homebrew and crap like that. With that, and it's super easy to do now, I guess. Like back when I was doing the Switch modding, it was an incredibly complex friggin' process where it was like Mercury had to be in retrograde and the moon had to rise on a certain angle on
the seventh house.
Exactly, on a certain Tuesday of the
dawning of the age of Aquarius. Sorry. If you get Twitch, that, you're either old or you're into show tunes.
Please don't DMC us.
Technically, that's a cover.
You're not wrong. But anyways, so they come out and I said it was gonna be a decent spec bump over the original Switch, right?
Right.
And I was right on one of the two of those. right? So it is a pretty decent spec bump. Like we're getting
You almost have to,
256
right?
gig of storage, right? Instead of 32 gigs on board, but they still have the micro SD card slot. Huge.
That's kind
right?
of why the Xbox S kind of flopped.
Right.
Because it wasn't a spec bump.
Right.
Not really.
Not really. I have one. Not really.
You know, I have one too. There's one. I have an Xbox, a one sitting downstairs,
Yeah.
and I have a 1S up in the bedroom.
Yep.
I would like
And
to
so-
get the new one, but I
Right.
can't justify the price.
Yeah, no, they're crazy. But it'll do 4K
There's a
120
elephant in the room.
FPS. Sorry, it'll do 1080p 180 FPS on the docked 4K 60 docked. It'll do 120 FPS handheld, which is huge. Like 120 FPS up to 120 FPS handheld is huge. The problem lies in the fact that, let's be real, you and I have been in this industry a long time. Most games don't even take advantage of 60 FPS,
Right,
let alone
right. Much less.
120.
Now, look at your screen for a second. Let's get to the elephant in the room.
Yep. Yeah. So this is where
It's more like the herd of elephants in the room.
right. I've been holding this off as long as I can because Nintendo came out after the direct. They didn't announce.
Well, good for them. I'm glad. No, wait, no, sorry.
They did not announce any pricing during the direct. They left that purposely.
See, that's the thing that got me
to a press
they left
release.
That to afterwards. It's like, oh yeah,
if you go back and watch my video, right? If you go back and watch the VOD of me covering the direct, I literally said, "Wait a minute, you're not going to tell us how much money we have to give you for the damn thing? You spent an hour hyping this thing up, and now I have no idea what it's going to cost me.
Also,
how stupid can you be?
Never good.
No, it's never good. It's never good. It means they're hiding it, and they hid it in a fucking press release that went into Biz Journal.
Right.
Literally, everybody that I know was going, "What's the price? What's the price?" I'm like, "Oh, I don't know." But so then now there's a reason for this because they knew the price would piss people off, right?
Mm-hmm.
Asking somebody to spend $450 on a console in 2025 with everything going on in the world right now is insane.
Right.
Asking someone to spend, and I'm talking about regular consumers, right? Hardcore gamers are gonna buy it. Nintendo enthusiasts were gonna buy it no matter what. Like, I'm talking general public stuff, right? The problem is that Nintendo then said, I should say sneakily revealed a dynamic pricing model for their games. What that means is, in reading what Doug Bowser has said, is that they are going to look at the development cost, development time, and the potential replayability, etc., of the games, and price them accordingly. Generally, what that means,
pricing for tickets,
right? Generally, what that means is you're probably looking between $50 and $80 for a game, with Mario Kart World being priced at $79.99.
Well, the new Donkey Kong was priced at $80.
Donkey Kong,
straight up.
No. Donkey Kong is $60.
I saw one of them that was priced at $80. This just straight
Mario Kart.
up priced at $80.
Mario Kart is $80.
Okay.
Mario Kart is $80. Donkey Kong is $70. And then like some of the Switch 2 editions of Zelda, like the Zelda titles, are $60. So
right.
So
well, to be fair, they started this with Breath of the Wild.
Well,
they tested the waters with Breath of the Wild.
They tested the waters with Breath of the Wild, right? And now look, I went on to social media and I posted a hot take, and I don't necessarily regret what I said because I stand by what I say, right? In that if you wanted to buy a true complete version of a video game, we're talking like, because all these companies offer early access or pre-order bonuses or whatever, right? You've been paying $80 for years. They've just called it a deluxe edition, and we all bought it anyways.
And that's where we split. That's where we split on opinion. And here's why. I don't completely disagree with you. Don't misunderstand me. But let's take Dune, for example, because now the pricing is out. We can look at Dune.
Right.
Base game, $50. That's all you need to play. Done. That's the complete product. $100, $60, $70, $100 gets you the 5-day head start. You don't need that to play. It also gets you some skins. You don't need those skins to play. Now, your FOMO is probably going to kick in because that's what that's for.
Right, but some would argue, right, and a lot of people do argue, that in the case of an MMO, finger quotes, like Dune, that head start is necessary for the full, complete experience of the game.
Bullshit. That's what I would tell them. Because it's an MMO. Because here's the thing: if I started, but no, I'm not bullshitting at you, but I kind of am. But if I started WoW today, do I or do I not get the full experience?
You do, yes.
That game is 20 fucking years or 15 years old. So
20,
your argument
21.
just went out the door.
And I would agree with you on that. but my thing is this look. If the game pricing had kept up with inflation, a video game would now cost something like $100 and some.
But it never will.
But it never will
because games are a pure luxury market.
Well, the thing of it is, it never will because the market will never demand that. The market will not bear that. The industry will crash. Point.
It's a pure luxury market. Right now, the industry needs to be looking very, very close because they're in danger.
Right.
Because as the economy starts to teeter. Now, with that being said, it's been proven that if you look at things in other downturns, entertainment doesn't suffer as badly as you might think.
Right.
But at the same time, if I have to pay $80 for that game and I have to decide whether I'm going to pay $80 for that game or $80 for those 4 games or $80 for those 3 movies.
Yep.
Choices.
Choices that used to be impulse buys for people will be choices.
I won't. I just won't at an $80 base price.
Right. Well, so here's something I saw earlier today. And I commented on it, right? But Dan's Gaming said, with games being $80, most people will have to cut back on how many they buy, to your credit, right? To your point, right? At the same time, many games are releasing in buggy and unfinished states, making people very nervous and cynical about every purchase. Correct.
Sure.
Compounding on this, many games are also trying to super monetize everything in the game with microtransaction stores inside of every single player game.
You want my money, and then you still want my money.
Right. Paid early access and more. Even with these high prices and high monetization, game developers are still being fired and studios are being shut down. Trust is at an all-time low. Something is broken in the games industry. And here's what I said. Right? I said something has been broken for a long, long time. I have covered this industry since 2011, right? And I said insiders and games media like me and like Stephanie Sterling and so many others, we've been saying something is broken for years. Literal years. I've been saying it for almost a decade when Ubisoft started putting microtransactions in fucking Assassin's Creed games.
Right.
Yeah, when they slowed experience down purposefully and then sold you an experience boost in the store.
Part of that, frankly, right there.
But the general public, is now, of course.
And not this company, What I
Well,
mean is mobile
no.
gaming.
Yeah, mobile gaming. The general public is just now catching up to where we've been in the past 5 years.
Well,
Because
but
that's the reason
nature.
is because it's now finally going to affect their fucking wallet.
Well, right.
It's now finally going to affect them. It's
That's the nature of people. People in general, people do not care until it directly affects them. They don't care what happens to you. They don't care what happens to their neighbor. They don't care as long as it doesn't directly affect them.
Right.
No, it's going to. But yeah, I've already had to cut back. Dune is the first game I bought full price in quite some time.
Same.
You know, and that's because, frankly, I'm a Dune fanboy, and I freely admit this. So that game, I was like, okay, I'm in.
My bugbear, right? My bugbear comes with the fact that I've read every fucking comment on some of these threads. I've watched a bunch of creators and influencers talking about this out of their goddamn ass, having no idea what they're actually saying and not realizing their words have meaning. Like they're all saying, "Oh, it's going to give developers more revenue per game, which means they're going to be able to make more money and it's going to justify larger budgets for these games."
It gives the people that wear ties more money.
Right. So studios can invest in narrative and visuals.
That's all
be
bullshit.
Innovative. It's all bullshit.
Because how much more money do you need when you've already got $300 to $450 million in your budget? Right. How much more do you need to make a good game?
But that goes, well, you want to know what's really funny? Well, it's really funny. Before this tonight, I was recording the first episode of a new series I'm doing, a Centrifuge, playing Schedule 1, which is a one-man developed drug dealing game, right? We'll call it what it is, right? But it is a one-man developed game. It costs $20. I had more fun in the hour that I've played that game with him than I have in some AAA games I've played. I'm looking at you, Assassin's Creed Shadows.
Well, right. We always look back at Ubisoft, and that's what I'm talking about. Somewhere in the neighborhood of $300 to $450 million is what it took for them to make a half-decent fucking Assassin's Creed game.
I'm looking at you, Activision and Call of Duty. I'm looking at you, Bungie and Destiny, where this time last year I was saying Destiny is fucking incredible again. And you know what? You fucked it up.
Yeah, this year, Destiny's done. It's over. Fuck it. You took
a guy who had played Destiny for 10 years.
Right.
And made him not give a fuck. Do you have any idea what that took?
Yeah, actually, I kind of do. Right there with you. I kind of do. They took a guy who gave who literally would buy the lore books for Destiny and read them in his free time. Right.
And said, I don't give a fuck. I'm not spending a dime. Star Wars content came out for Destiny and I didn't buy it.
Right. I didn't either.
You know what a big deal that is for me?
Yeah, well.
My favorite thing crossed the game I had more hours in than ever any other game except World of Warcraft, and I didn't buy it.
All right. I get it. I truly get it. I have hundreds of hours into Destiny and hundreds more into researching the lore and reading and all that jazz.
The thing,
because I'm a lore whore.
The thing that Nintendo is doing. And Nintendo is pulling an Apple, right? Because only Nintendo can get away with this shit. It's like only Apple can get away with certain shit, right? It's the same fucking thing. Nintendo is fucking doing this tiered pricing bullshit, and you know what it's going to do? It's going to allow every other company to do the same damn thing.
Right.
Publishers are going to fucking go,
unless it falls flat on its face. Unless it falls flat on its face. If it's even moderately successful, this will be the way gaming goes.
The problem is it won't fall flat on its face. It's been proven that it won't because it's fucking Nintendo.
Well, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's Nintendo. We've talked about this time and time and time and time again. Your average gamer just doesn't give a fuck. They're going to open their wallet no matter
Yep.
how bad they're getting screwed. Because
New
they
Mario
just
game.
don't
Let's
care.
play it.
Right.
Like again, don't
New
get me
Madden,
wrong.
new
I
Call of
want to
Duty,
play the game.
new whatever.
I want the fucking console. I love
know?
my Switch. I play it all the time. I love that fucking little thing because you want to know, it gave me something I wanted when I was a kid. I wanted to
Sure.
take the game I was playing on my television and take it with me.
Right.
Fucking amazing console. I've owned 3 of them, for Christ's sakes. I love that damn console. When we eventually buy a Switch 2, because it's going to happen because Trish wants one.
Sure.
Ugh. When Trish fucking when we get one, I'm still keeping a Switch around. Just Damon's gonna have one.
Well, that's the thing. There's no particular reason. And the one good thing I will give Nintendo is you don't have to abandon the old console, right?
Right.
Unlike you technically you don't with an Xbox or a PlayStation either, but let's be real.
Well, Xbox is actually way more lenient on backwards compatibility than PlayStation is. You want to play a PlayStation 3 game, you either buy the fucking deluxe blah blah remaster fuck
Right.
you edition.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. Let's
or-
be real, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, that's the thing. I'll be honest, well, I thought about it because there's a couple of that look really cool, but I just couldn't do it. I don't play enough.
Right.
If we were all still playing like every night, then I might have ponied up to $20-$30 or whatever it was.
Yeah, same. Yeah, exactly. I thought about it. It's my favorite thing.
We're not. You know?
It's my favorite thing. It's literally it is the thing that I will always go. I will try it. Right.
Right.
I will play no matter how bad the fucking gay Star Wars game thing. Whatever. I will play it because that is my thing. It's like you in survival and space games, right? I will play it.
Speaking of, I just bought one tonight.
Right. What'd you buy?
Underspace.
Ooh, interesting. All right. So the other thing, right? So what this is gonna do, and this is gonna bug the piss out of a lot of people, right? It's gonna normalize the payment of or the paying of $100+ editions for deluxe editions. People don't think about that, right? They're like, well, if 80 is the base game, right?
Well, that's where I was going, and we didn't get there because you don't. Again, I will stick to this. You don't need all of that stuff. So, but if right now, again, we'll go back to Dune. The game is $50 base.
Well,
$100. It's already $100 for the full up version. So if you take that now it's $80. Let me finish my point.
Right.
Now it's $80. Now you're up to 130, 140 for that full up version. It's gonna snowball.
But now, hold on. What if the deluxe edition, right, includes DLC?
Dunes does. It includes the season pass, which is 4 DLCs.
Right. But what if it includes? It includes a DLC. Does that change your viewpoint on what I'm saying?
No, DLCs don't exist yet. I still don't need that to play the game.
Okay.
I may need it down the line, but I can make that decision down the line if I really want to. Okay. And I have. I haven't bought every single Destiny season pass.
Fair. Okay. Fair.
But again, do you need to play the game when the game releases?
No, but it is in totality the true complete version of the game because it includes all of the content, even if that content doesn't exist yet.
Well, then no game ever releases complete. Done. End of story. Ever. Any game that's ever had DLC then it did not release complete. By that logic.
Okay, fair. Okay, fair. I'm merely playing. I am merely playing devil's advocate here.
Right, but I'm saying you can't have it both ways.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. I'm merely playing devil's advocate to see kind of where we can morph this to, because
Yeah.
somebody in a fucking chat room somewhere is saying this exact shit, right?
Right. And
Right,
somebody in the chat room somewhere right now is saying how full of shit we are.
right, exactly.
You
But
know.
so, like, so, in doing in and this goes back to the point you were making earlier, right? With all these prices rising, right, and people are going to have to be choosy with what they decide to purchase, right? It really makes those $20 to $40 double A or indie games or whatever shine.
Right.
It is an opportunity, and really it's been an opportunity for a number of years, and I've always highlighted as many indie games as we can get. Like Papers, Please. When that game came out, oh my god, that game was
I
fucking
don't think so.
incredible. Yes,
You're
Your
bowling here,
Grace.
but not
Fucking
yet.
incredible. Like
Right.
those games, those games were
Power World.
Power. I mean, when
You know,
fucking Enshrouded, Nightingale. Like I could go
Enshrouded,
on.
Nightingale, Valheim, Don't Starve, even Aloft. Hell, the indie game of all indie games, Minecraft.
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
But so it will allow these indie titles, these indie companies to shine, and maybe you'll find the next Pal World or the next Helldivers, right? The next something that gives you that feeling again. And for fuck's sake, I hope you do. I
Sure.
hope that
And
you
here's
do.
the thing. If you don't have a problem with these prices, well, that's you, and I'm glad you have that kind of money.
Right.
I am, truly.
Right.
But the bulk of us probably don't.
Right.
And
Well,
as it stands,
well, now
again, as it stands, I get even as the prices go up, I get even more and more choosy of games I will buy when they come
right.
out, as opposed to waiting on a sale. And
Right.
here's
Well,
the other problem too. Most of the time now, used to, if a game came out, it probably wasn't going to go on sale until the next year.
Right.
Now, let's use Steam as an example. Steam, let's see, Steam does the spring sale, the summer sale. There's a not quite Christmas sale, and then the Christmas sale. Those are
Yep.
kind of the big ones, right?
Yep.
So if a game releases now, which is just after the spring sale, it may not go on sale for the summer sale, but I bet you it goes on sale for the Christmas sale.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So now there's just no point. The only reason you have to do that is going back to FOMO, fear of missing out. Because by God, I've got to play this day one or I'm going to be missing out on some experience. No, probably not. You're going to be missing out. If it's an MMO, you're going to be missing out on crashing servers, not being able to log in, and lagging and rubber banding everywhere.
Right.
It's pretty much what you're going to be missing out because nobody has solved this problem yet.
Yep.
None of them have solved the launch day problems.
Right.
So you're not really going to miss a thing. You're not going to miss if it's a single player game. You can't possibly miss anything other than not being the first person to see something, which at the end of the day means nothing.
Right.
As cool as I think world's firsts are, they don't really mean anything in the grand scheme of things.
Right. Exactly.
It's like being a pro wrestling champion. Yeah, I went there.
You're not wrong.
I know I'm not wrong in this case.
You're
but
not
it's just
wrong.
It is. I get it. There's a part of me that gets it, and sometimes I'm like, well, like Assassin's Creed Shadows. I sit here going, I think I would probably enjoy that game.
Yeah.
But I'm not giving Ubisoft money.
Nope.
You know? And every time I see it, I go, oh, it looks good, but I'm not giving it money. Not happening.
Yep.
You know? And I still haven't.
Yep.
Eventually, if it goes on Ultra sale at some point, and it will. I mean, you can get Black Flag for a song these days. You know?
True.
And honestly, if I really want Assassin's Creed these days, I just go back and either play like Brotherhood or Black Flag.
Yeah, fair.
Gives me all the decent Assassin's Creed I really want. If I want open world Assassin's Creed, I'll play Odyssey. I preferred Odyssey to Origins. I thought the stories were okay, but I think Odyssey was the better game.
I agree.
But it's just what sucks though is they're also Far Cry, and I'm a Far Cry fan.
Yeah, and that's the other thing is Far Cry has always been high on my list of wonderful titles.
I I think it'll be a lot harder to resist Far Cry than it has been Assassin's Creed these days.
Fair.
Because Far Cry, frankly, is still really good to me. I liked
6.
5. I like 5. I like 6.
I
6
like
got a little
6.
samey, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, but I
You
like
know,
6. 6.
anytime you get Giancarlo Esposito to do something, I'm in.
Right, exactly.
But I thought 6 was good. I didn't think it was any more samey than 5. The problem is 5 was so good. The
Yep.
story in 5 was just tops. And so Far Cry 6 had that Empire Strikes Back syndrome.
Yep.
At best you're going to get as good, you know. Um so and that's always the problem. Slight side note, when you're coming off a really good game, expansion, whatever, and you have to follow it up. You know, they call it the sophomore jinx, right? All bands, their sophomore album, their second album almost always sucks. Because you just can't, especially if their first album hit big, their second album usually doesn't do as well. Yes, I know there are going to be 1,000 people in chat commenting all these bands that actually did better. I get it. But there's a reason the sophomore jinx exists. And it's the same way with gaming. You know, you look at expansions, look at Destiny, look at the expansions to Destiny 2. You know, and even Destiny 1, Taken King was really just holy crap. You know, what was it that came after that? The Iron Wolves one. What did they actually call that?
The words. The words. Yep.
Rise of Iron.
Remember.
Rise of Iron.
Yep. There we go. Yep.
Good. It was good. Don't misunderstand me. I really enjoyed Rise of Iron, but it wasn't Taken King.
Right.
You know.
Right.
We saw the same thing in Destiny 2. Pretty much anything after Forsaken. Has struggled.
Yep.
You know. They peaked. They peaked hard at Forsaken.
Yep.
It's like I've been peripherally following the current story, but I have no desire to play. I can just watch Bife. I can watch Evade.
I can watch Dano.
I can watch Evade. I can watch Bite. I can I can watch that. I can get all the story I want that way. I can see everything that happens. I don't have to log in and grind through that crap.
Yep, exactly.
Because I still like the world that they built.
Yep. Oh yeah, for sure.
You know, it's kind of why I'm still playing EverQuest, because I just still love the world.
Right. It's the same way a buddy of mine feels about Halo. Like he loved the first 3 and then kind of fell. But he's like, I still love the world, so I want to watch somebody play it.
Yeah, see, that's the thing with me and Halo. I love the world. Never really got into the games.
Yeah.
But I've read the books. I've watched. I love the lore around it. Just the gameplay for Halo never did anything for me, and it's kind of weird. I know it's very strange, especially given how much time I followed up by putting into Destiny, which is essentially Halo.
Which is Halo by another name. Like we're just shooting reskin versions of the Covenant of the Flood.
It doesn't feel the same for me though. The shooting in Destiny feels.
Oh, different. It feels exactly the same.
You know, for me, the shooting in Destiny always felt different. Because that's part of why I didn't give Destiny a try until almost the end of year 1.
Yeah.
I gave it well, that's not true. I gave it a try early on. It was like, feels like Halo. I played that, didn't care for it. I'm done here.
Fair.
And then got back into it later, as happens when a friend plays it, and they're like, "Oh, come play." And you start playing with someone, and it becomes a different game. Borderlands was the same way. I played Borderlands 1 and got bored.
Yeah.
At first, because Borderlands has the problem of, why am I still in the intro? I'm 6 hours into this game. Why have I not got to the meat yet?
Fair.
Why am I still in the intro? And they all have that problem. They have not fixed this problem really.
No.
But so I put it away. I got rid of it because I had bought it on disc and I sold it. I got rid of it completely. And then my buddy was like, "Oh, you've got to get through that, and then it opens up, and then when you're playing with someone else, it becomes a completely different game." So I bought it for like $5 and reinstalled it and slogged through it. And sure enough, when we started playing together, that was a whole different ballgame. And then I got into it and started going, okay, what is the world they built around it? And I like the world that Borderlands built as well. I think what they have built is really cool.
Yeah.
But that's diverging from the topic. The problem is the end result here, though, of an $80 base game is everything on top of that is going to go up.
Yeah.
And it may go up that same amount. It may go up more. That's the thing.
The thing is, like, with all the uncertainty surrounding tariffs, and look, we're not a political show, but tariffs are a fact of life in the United States.
They are, but whether they affect the game industry,
absolutely, absolutely,
really,
at least when it comes to the console manufacturing and sales, and when it comes to the price of those consoles,
right. But the games themselves, the making of the games themselves, it shouldn't have a fuck off thing to do. The distribution, the console cost, the PC cost.
Yeah,
everything involved with that is going to go up, which is why I'm glad I'm doing a couple of upgrades now, because it ain't going to happen. It ain't going to happen soon. I got one more I want to do.
Yep, I'm in the same boat. I'm like, I was looking at RAM today, going, I should probably jump on this sooner rather than later.
Now before it goes up by 50%. The problem is I'm at 32 now. I really want to go to 64, even all the way to 128, and that's a little expensive. And of course, now somebody's going to say, well, you don't need 128 gig to game. You're right, but I do for music and video editing.
And that's the thing. For video editing, I absolutely need 128.
The more you can throw at a video editor and in your studio software, the better. So I would at least want to go to 64. But in for a penny, in for a pound, that's worth it.
Right.
But yeah, it's just the prices are going to go up all the way across the board. Here's the thing, though. Even if tariffs had fuck all effect on it, the companies are going to say they do. They're going to use tariffs to raise prices even more.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Because it's all about putting more money in the pockets of the guys that are wearing ties in the corner office.
Yeah, it's happening.
That's why they cut. That's why they cut people. That's why developers are still getting fired. It doesn't have shit to do with they're not making money. When you start looking at their profit statements, they're making plenty of fucking money.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
God. When you get to the point where you're just making money to make money, it doesn't do you any more good. There's
a friend of mine in the industry posted something like, well, great, get me this is great for game developers because they're going to start making a living wage. No, they're not. No, they're not. Because people, they will continue the same bullshit practices they've continued for fucking forever.
Right.
And that money will go to like you said, to line their fucking pockets, to pay the C-suite, to keep the investor, the shareholders, and the stakeholders, and the investors, and the partners, and the marketing people happy. It ain't going to developers. I'm sorry.
It ain't going to go to the voice actors either.
That's like trickle down fucking economics. Let's be
right.
No, it does not work. That is right. That is a joke. And if it happens, you know what? I will sit here and I will say this: if it happens, if for what somehow developers, the people who give a fuck about the games they're creating, actually make more money because of this, I will
be the
eat
first one
my
to say
fucking
I was
hat.
Right.
I'll be the first one to say I was wrong.
Right. Absolutely.
I will do a 24-hour live stream to prove it.
Yeah.
But
we'll play Hero's Journey for 24 hours at a time.
Right? But like it ain't happening. It ain't happening. Right. It's not no. It's not no.
Yeah, it's not gonna happen.
Not gonna happen.
Yeah.
That would require people to give a shit.
Right. Which is also not gonna happen.
Right?
The problem is, oh God, here we go. Your average game consumer, sheep.
Yep.
You follow the flock.
Yep.
You don't give a shit. You don't think for yourself. You don't analyze this stuff for yourself. You just go, whatever. Here's your money, and you move the fuck on. And yeah, it is what it is. But just pisses me off. There's a whole lot of reasons for that. starting with education system, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
But again, we're not a political show. I'm not going to get political. I refuse to get political.
Right.
This is a gaming show. We're going to talk about gaming.
Absolutely. Well, and that's why I said at the outset, I said, look, like we're not a political show, but tariffs are a part of life right now, and there's.
With that being said,
that's not political. Right. Exactly. Don't be nuts. Don't be a cunt. Right.
Right. Don't be a cunt.
Like look, for years, I've had 2 rules. Right. Rule number 1: don't be a dickhead.
Right.
Right. Rule number 2: try really hard to follow rule number 1. I just, I don't know what else to say, man. I think that Nintendo is trying to pull an Apple, and I've not seen anybody else make that comparison, so I'm going to say it again. Dude. Nintendo is trying to pull an Apple, and they will succeed because they are Nintendo, and people, for whatever reason, love Mario and Zelda and Kirby and Metroid and all this so much they will give up anything to play those new titles.
Right.
That's how this works.
I'm looking at this thing you just sent me.
Yeah.
Right? That is our new tagline. Just facts and flames.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I love it. I fucking love it. But yes, I mean, it's like, I love this industry. I wouldn't sit here for an hour or 2 every 2 weeks and talk about it if I didn't love it.
Complaining.
Right? I wouldn't sit here, right? I wouldn't sit here and stream video games. Hey, what's up, Bong? I wouldn't sit here and stream video games.
Marathon will be playable right after the reveal showcase on April 12th.
Yeah, supposedly that's a thing.
What?
Yeah. I was like, okay, all right, you have my attention, Bungo. You actually have my attention.
Well, sorta. I don't have a lot of excitement for Marathon, but,
Right, but sure, but you know what? I'll give it a shot.
Sure.
I'll give it a shot.
Now, see, the first rule about aggressively casual is we always talk about aggressively casual.
I mean, you're not wrong.
You're
not wrong. But it's like I said, I if I didn't love this industry and I didn't want to see it succeed and people succeed in it, I wouldn't be here.
I want to see good games. I want to see developers that make good games. I want to see developers that make good games make decent money.
Yep. And that's the long and short of it. It shouldn't, like Stephanie Sterling has said for years, right? It should not be hard for a company to just make and sell a video game. But they put so many goddamn roadblocks in for themselves. And they're all self-made, every single one.
Everything.
They're all self-made. And what it boils down to, right? I am a project manager by trade, right? That is my job, right? I'm a project manager and content creator by trade. I've done this for years, right? Every project I have managed has gone out ahead of schedule. Every single one. Because I know, because I have I have the knowledge and the passion and the wherewithal to get people to go places they wouldn't normally go.
Get it done, right? Oh, God, that's the one thing that's always been, having been in development, having been in admin, now being in governance.
Right.
Project management and the lack thereof is the number one cause of bullshit.
Yep.
It doesn't matter where you work.
Nope.
It's just, if you have poor project management, you're gonna struggle.
And it never ceases to amaze me how many of these, especially in these post-mortems of video games, right? How many large companies have some very questionable project and product management skills. And
absolutely.
It like the biggest example I can think of, right? And we've talked about this. I think we've talked about this once before.
Marathon? Sorry. Sorry, that was my outside voice.
Wow. No, is Anthem.
Shots fired. Oh,
is
God,
Anthem.
Jesus.
Now,
Anthem,
but because
the greatest
Anthem,
game that could have been.
Anthem, what they showed at EA Play that year didn't exist.
No, it didn't exist.
There was
and to be fair,
no game.
No
They
Man's
built
No Man's Sky had that same problem.
they built Anthem in 18 months, which
Right.
now to their credit, that it worked at all,
What they
fucking
delivered in 18
amazing for
months.
18 months.
What they delivered in 18 months was really good. Now, let me preface this. I liked Anthem. I really did. Even though it did not deliver even remotely on what they showed and what they promised. We played a lot of Anthem. And the moment-to-moment gameplay, honestly,
So
the
good.
moment-to-moment gameplay is still good.
Yep.
But there just wasn't enough to do before you hit the same old thing every single time, running the same
Yep.
old fortress, because it's the only way you could get anything. And every game, don't misunderstand me, every game has this problem. Every game that's even partially MMO, you always get to that point where you're running that same dungeon, whatever you want to call it, it's a dungeon. And
Yep.
because there's the only way you can get anything, and you're in the same zone for days after
Yep.
days after
Yep.
days. I'm looking at you, Hero's Journey and Dragon Necropolis. Oh my god, I'm so tired of that zone.
I'm looking at you, Hero's Journey and Duloc Harbor.
You know, I would rather be in Duloc, because at least in Duloc I make money.
Fair.
It's like, but
Yeah, but
and I'm not
Outriders
okay.
was a finished
Wait, hold
game.
up. Right. Hold up. I'm not bagging on the Hero's Journey, by the way. I'm bagging on the grind.
Right, yeah. Love that game.
I love the Hero's Journey. I play far too much of it.
Hero's Journey is the best first EverQuest I've ever played, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Right. But Anthem was great. Outriders is another example.
But
could have been amazing.
The thing of it is, it was amazing. The game was remember
the moment-to-moment gameplay was really good.
But remember, you and I were on stream the minute that big story twist hit, and my jaw dropped.
Right. Yeah, it's just
so good.
And then when you fuck it all up.
Oh. And then
it's like you had the world in your hand.
Well,
the world was in the palm of your hand.
But here's the thing: is that with Outriders, people can fly said it's not meant to be a live service game, so stop trying to make it one.
Right.
They said it is meant to be a co-op experience, and that's it. It's not a live service title. And to be fair, they fell victim to trying to kind of turn it into a little bit of a live service title with that last expansion.
But again, that goes back to what you just said. It's problems of your own making.
Well, no, I don't.
Absolutely. They could have. They didn't have to do that.
But to keep their community happy, they kind of did, because the community was saying that the community was saying, we want this, we want this, we want this, we want that, right? And they had two choices: either do the thing and try to keep the community engaged, or the game would fall off.
No, it wouldn't have.
And unfortunately, both things happened.
No, it wouldn't have. It wouldn't have. You know why? Because the gaming community is a fickle bitch. All they really want to do is complain. This has been proven. Look at Destiny.
Yeah.
Look at Call of Duty. Look at WoW. Look at all of these games. Every time they make a change, oh my god, this sucks. Oh, I'm never giving you a dime. Oh, look, new expansion. Here you go.
Right? Yeah. Fair.
Take my money. It's been proven time and time again that they will not speak with the only voice that they have, which is their wallet.
Oh God, no. Oh God.
You know. So it doesn't matter how loud you get.
It's the reason Madden sells. It's the reason Call of Duty sells year after year after year. Right. Because
right, literally, here's Madden 24. Look, this shirt's now blue.
Right.
Well, here's your new Call of Duty skin.
The thing that boggles my mind, right? And one of my favorite sports gaming content creators finally came out and admitted it. He was like, "Look, the general public doesn't need to buy this game every year.
Right.
You shouldn't buy the game every year. There aren't enough upgrades for you in the game year over year over year to buy it, unless you're a really big fan of baseball or football or soccer or whatever."
I remember when they would just put out roster updates.
Right? Me too.
And you get new player, you get the new
I
players or
remember.
updates to the new jerseys. Or,
I remember when they would come out with a new game, but still put out a roster update for the previous game. Because they valued your money back then. They valued your time. They valued the investment you put into the game.
Right.
That doesn't
Well, that's
happen
just it.
anymore.
You're
And
not the fact that you're the consumer anymore. They don't care.
Well, yeah, they don't care. No.
Once they have your money, they
Yeah.
no longer care.
The thing I've said this before. I can't remember if I said it on the show or not. Is that the game is no longer the product. We are.
Right.
The game hasn't been the product for a long time. The game is a byproduct of you wanting to do something with your time.
Right.
And like I said a couple shows ago, the gamer entitlement when it comes to their time is insane.
Well, and that's another thing, right?
Gaming, I mean, in fact, the royal we gamers, the general gaming community at large, for whatever reason, values their time above anything else, more than above watching movies, reading books, taking a walk, like going a hiking, getting out in
Touch some
nature.
grass, man.
We for whatever reason seem to believe that our sense of time, the time we've invested in whatever title we're playing, whatever thing we're doing, whatever little achievement pops up on the screen, is more valuable than somebody else's time who chooses not to play video games or doesn't do things as hardcore as we do.
Right.
And that's a problem for me. And I am a content creator. I am a live streamer. I'm an interactive storyteller, right? And I am the first one to say it's our fault.
Sure.
It's our fault.
Absolutely. I've said it for years.
We as content creators and influencers have made games a job. Therefore, we have made people feel like every game they play has to be their second job, which is great for the companies. Great for great for the C-suites, great for the executives, great for the shareholders, great for everybody but us.
Right.
But what do I know?
Absolutely. Well, yeah. I mean, I've said the same thing for years. We're our own worst enemies. Gamers are their own worst enemies. That's because they just don't. They don't care. At the end of the day.
Yeah, they don't care.
You know.
The gamer apathy in general is at an all-time high.
Why do I care about prices? Because, well, it affects my wallet.
It's like I said, something is broken.
Yeah, but what's broken is us.
Like something is broken. Like but it's not just that, right? It's what it's companies continuing to push the envelope as far as they can, right? And not enough people standing up and saying, "Fuck no, this is a bad idea."
Well, that's what I'm saying. The problem is us. We are the ones that are broken. We have been conditioned to believe this shit.
That's the word I was looking
Stockholm
for.
syndrome.
Yeah. Right?
It's basically Stockholm syndrome.
Right?
They treat us badly and have convinced us that we enjoy it.
Yeah.
And there's no safe word. So, will it stop? Not until the industry completely fucking collapses. When you're Ubisofts and you're right, absolutely FOMO. Fear of missing out is one of the biggest drivers of this, but that's been a thing that's been driven by the companies. Like, hey, let's put this out, but we're only going to put it out for like a month. So if you don't get it, all your friends will have it, but you won't have it.
Right.
Thankfully, that doesn't really affect me because if it did, I'd still be playing Destiny.
Right.
But that's the big driver. FOMO is a huge driver in this sort of thing. It's why people want to play day one. It's why they think they're going to miss something. No, again, all you're going to miss is crappy servers. Multiple crashes and trying to log in queues. That's what you're going to miss.
Yep. That's what you're going to miss.
But the only way the only way this ship rights itself is building. When you're Ubisofts and your EAs and your Activisions and your Blizzards, when some of those start tanking, and I mean just gone, they start getting absorbed, even more so than your Bungies, because let's face it, Bungie wasn't that huge of a company. In the grand scheme of things, when it truly starts to collapse, you might see a change.
Yeah.
You might not until it all falls apart. until it's just nothing left but indie companies.
Right.
I'm not sure that would be a bad thing.
I'm not convinced it'd be a bad thing either.
You know.
But again, what do we know?
There's a downer note to end the show on.
Right.
It's the end of the world as
we know it.
And I feel fine.
Jeez. Yep.
Again, that's a cover. Don't demonetize me.
All right, please Twitch, don't DMCA me. But as always, guys, I want to thank each and every one of you for stopping by. I've said it before, but I really, really look forward to doing this show every couple of weeks. And
it's a lot of fun at the end of the day, right?
Yeah, it's a lot of fun to sit here and bullshit with you for an hour or two.
It's an excuse for us to get on the mic and argue, basically.
Right. Well, we've done it in Discord for years, anyways.
I guess technically it's debating.
It's debating.
At the end of the day, it don't mean shit.
No, because at the end of the day, I still love you. And
it doesn't change anything. It ain't gonna make
No.
But it's interesting to talk about these sort of things from at least slightly different perspectives. Perhaps if we want to go there, 2 generational different perspectives.
God, you're old.
I am. Well, and that's just it. So, oddly enough, when I was picking up my monitors tonight, I was talking to that guy, and I was like, we were talking about gaming, and I'm like, my first video game was a Telstar Pong machine.
Yeah.
And so, and the fact of the matter is, yes, you're how old now?
35.
35. So there are things that you grew up with that have always been in your world. They've just always been there. It's just a part of the world that I remember when they weren't there.
Yeah, fair.
I see it. I saw it. I first started seeing this with like my brother, who's 10 years younger than I am. So he's 45 now, and then you're another 10 under him. So yeah, I bet you do, old man.
Just a fucking kid.
Malavir is the oldest of the 3 of us. I'm pretty sure we're gonna be putting him in a home soon.
He's like 80, 89, right?
Just don't drool on the keyboard. You'll have to buy a new one. Don't ask me how I know that. Don't ask me. No, let's face it. I'm the one that spills shit on my keyboard. But the point is, I noticed this first off with my brother.
Yeah.
Because my brother has never known not having a game console.
Fair.
It just existed. He's never known not having cable TV.
Okay. All right.
I still remember when there were 3 channels. That was it.
Yeah.
4 if you could get PBS. So Jeff remembers before TV. You started it. But then so that sort of thing was just in his world, so you didn't have to teach him how to use it, right?
Right.
I see the same thing with the 6-year-old grandson with like the iPad and phones, and I saw this with my daughter who's about to turn 16. That'll make you feel old. Where she just picks up, she's like 4 one day, decides, she's like, Daddy, I want to see the pictures on your phone. Picks up my phone, opens it, because it wasn't, I didn't lock it at the time.
Right.
Swipes it open, swipes over to the gallery, clicks to the gallery, and then starts swiping through pictures. Without ever having been explained to her how to do that, because it was just in her world. It was just a thing that people did, and by Bob's observation. So I see that with my grandkid now. There are things that like operating the iPad. I had a little bit of trepidation when I gave him the current one because it's one of the ones that doesn't have a home button. Took him all of 45 seconds to adapt to that.
Right.
It took me longer to adapt to the lack of a home button than it did him.
I bought Seamus an iPad for Christmas. Damn. Like
right.
Fish,
you just hand it to
water.
Like, sweet.
Yep. Fish to water. I was like, all right, this is
right.
Ask me a couple questions,
Technology moves forward to the point where it's just in their world. It just is what it is. It's part of the world. I remember still having to be tethered to the phone with a landline.
Oh yeah, same.
My first modem was 2400 baud. My dad had a 300 baud cradle modem that he threatened me within an inch of his life if he ever caught me on it. Well, he also had CompuServe at the time, and you want to talk about expensive? Yeah. Literally like $60 a minute at one point. it was kind of stupid. He's like, if I ever catch you on my net, it will be the last time you touch a computer. And I thought when I was paying $7 and $3 an hour, it was still expensive, right? It was, by the way, because I'd pay for like a single night what I pay for like 6 months now. But anyway, the technology moves forward, and it's interesting to see. I do look forward to see where gaming goes, actually. With that being said, I just bought 1080p monitors. I still don't do 2K, 2 and 4K gaming. I don't have a need.
I was like, you don't need it. Not really.
But at the same time, I look forward to where games go, where they can present the story the way they present them, and maybe a little bit more. But at the same time, I still want good product, and I want good product at a decent price.
Yep. Yeah.
Which brings us back full circle.
Absolutely.
See how I just wrapped that around there.
Look at that. And a nice little bow on everything. But as always, guys, thank you so much for stopping by. Thank you for checking the VODs on YouTube. Thank you for interacting with us on there and on social media. It means the world to me that we Senshudo as a company still have some relevancy after as long as we were away and as long as we've been doing this. It means a lot. And I love y'all very much. And that's where I'm at. Where I'm at tonight.
Right. We'll see in 2 weeks. I have something else to complain about.
2 weeks, exactly. We have something else to complain about. We'll see. What crazy price will the Switch 2 actually launch at? We'll find out.
I'm going with $550.
Yeah, I was thinking so too. But anyways, all right. Love you guys. Thank you so much.
Peace out.